After pretty much vanishing, 3D action platformers are starting to make a resurgence. There's a new one called Eekeemoo now available out on the PS4. But does this game end up platforming its way to greatness, or does it just end up falling into a pit? In the game, you're playing as Eekeemoo, who is setting off to save her friends from evil monsters. There are these dark shards that have landed and corrupted the land and the world, and she has to defeat big giant bosses in order to save her friends and eventually find the shining star that has been stolen. The game is broken up into 4 chapters featuring pretty standard themes: a forest type level, an ice level, fire level, and then a dark, scary cave-like level. By saving your friends in the game, you unlock new characters that then become part of your party, and they work kind of like extra lives, where if you die as one, you'll become the next one in your party who's still alive. You only end up wiping out completely if all the team members end up dying. You have the main character who works pretty well platforming, slashing with a sword. You have the fat Yum Yum who moves really slow, can't platform worth crap, but he's able to beat things up with a club as well as knock down breakable walls. You have Min, who is able to use magical spells in order to light torches from a distance or hit blocks in order to reform things like bridges. And then you have D-Bot, who is able to, I guess, work with electrical computers and the like, but his power really only comes into play one time in the entire game. While moving the character around with the joysticks works rather well, attacking enemies is completely clumsy. It's just a free-for-all. You get swarmed by a group of these zombie-like monsters, and you're pretty much just mashing the attack button hoping that you survive and you end up taking them out. As you're defeating them, they will drop like coins that you can spend in order to replenish your magic, as well as your life, as well as you can just get hearts straight up from them, but the items disappear very quickly once they end up landing on the ground, so if you don't quickly go and grab them, which can be hard to do, as you're being swarmed by a lot of stuff at once, it pretty much just comes down to hit the button as much as you can and hope you live, and if not, you're just going back to the previous checkpoint, and everything you've killed still counts as being dead. So even though you lose a little bit of progress, you just have to get back to where you were. However, while playing the game, it just feels like a very much unpolished, unfinished PlayStation 2 game, and not in a good, charming way. The jumping, while the platforming works usually, there are problems with the camera angle where it got stuck behind different things, or in fact there's one chase sequence where lava was chasing me, and it was really difficult to see where I had to platform, and if I jumped off into the lava, it reset the camera on me so I was actually able to see, so a glitch worked in my favor. The combat is extremely clunky since you're just going to be mashing the button and hoping to survive, and there was a lot of times where I was able to either jump on top of enemies in order to keep attacking them and they weren't able to hit me. I was able to stand behind invisible walls, so enemies throwing projectiles were unable to hit me that way, as well as sometimes I was able to even bypass locked doors and other areas you weren't supposed to go to yet by just jumping around. A little bit more of development, and I'm sure this game would have had a lot more charm and a lot more value to it. There is some creativity when it came to the boss fights. A few of them don't involve just running in and beating them up. Sometimes you have to strategize, either getting a boss to peek in through a door and then hitting a switch to drop the door on top of them to do damage, or wait for them to summon a panel and then you could get a crystal to show up. Hitting that is what ended up doing damage, so for the most part you just had to run around and avoid them. And then there were the occasional ones where you could just run in and beat them up until they ended up dropping. From the technical side of things, I ran into a bunch of slowdown. There was the weird clipping and glitching when it came to the camera and just the character in general. In fact, most of the game could be considered a glitch in some ways, as well as it has one of the worst soundtracks I've ever had to listen to. In fact, it was so bad after just a little while, I had to turn off the sound altogether and put on other music because it was that grinding. A lot of it was just a couple of notes on loop over and over and over again. Eekeemoo is available on the PS4 for $4.99. It does feature a full trophy list and a platinum though, and it's a very easy one. The only difficult ones are finding all the hidden shards and opening all the treasure chests, and if you know where theirs are located, you won't have any problem getting the platinums. The rest just come from beating the game and defeating certain enemies. Overall, this is one of those games that I was really disappointed by, as I like this genre, I like to see it making a comeback, and since I love the PS2 and that era of games, I was hoping it would remind me of those classics, but unfortunately, it just ends up failing in pretty much every aspect. With all said though, I'm going to be giving the game a 3 out of 10. But anyway guys, that's going to wrap up this review. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.